Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to my channel, My Loverlies. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I am so happy you found me. I do so hope that you will like and subscribe before you leave. Become part of the Mama family. Mama's got your back, at least where makeup's concerned, and definitely when that makeup is cheap. Today is best of February 2024. We're only in the second month of the year, and already we've been inundated with lots of absolutely fantastic makeup. Before we get started, a very special, very warm welcome to any of those that are new to my channel. I am so incredibly happy that you are here. If you enjoy the content, I do so hope that you will mash that thumbs up button. I hope that you will subscribe if you have not already. And I hope that you will ring my bell, turn on your notifications, so that way, next time I upload a video, you can come right back here and we can hang out together again. Also, my makeup is already done. This eye look is definitely not going to be for everybody, but it's been a minute. It's been a hot minute since I used some neon pigments, and I just went for it today. It is so bright and so fun, and just everything I wanted it to be. I used my Amazon neon loose pigments. These are from a brand called Milani. They're super affordable. You get a ton of pigments in here, and it's just, I think it was like under $20. You get all of these pigments, and they're so good. They're so pigmented. I've had these for almost 2 years now, and a little bit goes a very, very long way. When working with loose pigments of any kind, you definitely need to make sure that you're working with a tacky base. These are not going to just stick to bare skin, and if you try to use them that way, they will be patchy and they won't be cute. So there is just a little bit of a learning curve, especially when it comes to neon pigments. For some reason, they're just difficult to work with sometimes, but these ones are really, really nice. They're super affordable as well, and y'all, just look at that eye. Just look at that eye makeup. It turned out so, so pretty. I did make sure to film a TikTok on today's eye look. If you're interested, I'll make sure to have the tags for that, as well as all of my other socials, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff listed in the description box below. Guys, if you are not following me on all my other socials, you definitely should go do that. I post fun content every single day, and if you're following me everywhere, you don't have to worry about missing a single moment of it. All right, with all of that out of the way, let's dive in to the very best of the month. Y'all, I have dang near a full face of makeup to talk about today. That doesn't happen super often, so I'm super, super excited. Let's just start off with the first step in any makeup routine, and that would be primer. I have 2 different primers to talk about this month. First off, let's start with this one. I have reached for this primer legitimately every single day this month. This is the Ulta Beauty Skin Smoothie Hydro Pop Primer. I adore this primer. It's genuinely fantastic. It goes on, it plumps, it hydrates, it blurs just a teeny tiny little bit, but best of all, it really does just prep your skin for makeup application. It's got a water gel consistency to it that just feels like a tall glass of water for your face. It's delightful. It's clear. It looks like this. It just kind of almost looks like aloe vera, just a little bit, which is super funny because aloe is one of the main ingredients in this primer. You guys can see it just goes on, and it just is so nourishing for the skin. I really, really enjoy it. It sinks in completely and leaves a very slightly tacky kind of base, just enough tack and stick to really hold onto your foundation without being uncomfortable. Now, you remember the Milk Hydro Grip Primer and the e.l.f. dupe for that? I'm just not a big fan of those primers. I don't like the way that they feel on my skin. They feel heavy and sticky and gross. Just not my cup of tea. But this, it does kind of the same thing, just without all of the uncomfortableness. This stuff is delightful. I love the finish that it leaves on my skin. I love the hydrated, plump kind of feeling it gives to my skin. Yeah, this stuff's just, it's delightful. It says a lightweight gel texture that's cooling and moisturizing. It says, get a grip. Our weightless primer hydrates skin with a cooling blend of aloe and cucumber extracts. The water-based gel formula helps grip makeup with a natural looking finish. Guys, it's $13. You get 1 full fluid ounce of product in here. I think $13 is a very, very reasonable price for such a fantastic primer. I love the packaging. I love that it comes in this squeezy tube. You guys can see I am just about out of it. I've reached for it every single day. This is one of those primers that I'm genuinely going to be so sad when it's gone. I dread the day, but I've really enjoyed using it this month. Next up, we have our second primer, and this one is a fairly new one to my collection, but it is already one of my absolute favorites. This is the new Wet n Wild Impossible Primer Stick. Now, last year, the original Impossible primer, that was in my top 3 primers of the year. I adore that primer so very much. This is a very close second. It's not as hydrating as the original, but it definitely is more blurring. So if you have large pores or texture that you just kind of want to smooth out, this looks beautiful on the skin. I definitely enjoy this down the center of my face. I have big pores just by the sides of my nose and my upper lip. And this goes on, it fills things in, blurs things out. It has a very convenient and easy to use stick application. I would recommend that you keep this little piece of plastic though. I saw a couple of creators who spoke about this primer and said that if you don't keep this part, that the stick itself tends to dry out. So we definitely don't want that happening. So just make sure that you're keeping it sealed nice and tight, but it's easy to apply. Just kind of like run it along your skin and then press it in and you're good to go. This would be a perfect primer if you're one of those ladies who does their makeup on the go, if you're one of those girls who does their makeup in the car like I am continuously. This is a fantastic primer for that. I like it so much. It's about $7. You're getting half an ounce of product in here, so definitely less than in the original. However, I don't know. I can't be too mad about it. A little bit of this is going to go a long way. I could really see this primer stick lasting you absolutely forever. It's really nice. I enjoy this thoroughly. Moving on to foundations. I actually reviewed quite a few different foundations this month, but the only one that really stuck out to me and just keeps calling me back to it every single time is this one right here. So this is the Joah Crystal Glow Peptides foundation. This stuff is delightful. I have mine in the shade FC040, so I assume that stands for Fair Cool. This is beautiful. I do think it runs just a little bit yellow. Definitely have to add some of my ShopMissA shade adjusting blue drops when I use this, but the finish is so gorgeous. The packaging isn't anything special. It's plastic packaging. It doesn't feel luxurious. It doesn't feel special. However, the minute you start using this, you understand, like, everything just kind of like becomes clear, because it is such a gorgeously glowy, luminous foundation while also still being skin-like, yet not emphasizing texture. Oftentimes those glowier products, they can emphasize pores, they can emphasize texture and fine lines. And if you're anything like me, starting to get just a little bit older, those fine lines definitely aren't something that we want to bring to the forefront. This, however, manages to give you that gorgeous glossy lip from within kind of glow while still smoothing, and it's so pretty. I do want to show you guys the finish of it. I'm just going to put the tiniest bit on the back of my hand. The coverage on this is really fantastic as well. It's got a good solid medium coverage, but it's buildable as well. So if you have some stubborn spots you want to cover up, it's going to work with you. It's going to let you do that. But you guys see the gloss and the finish on that? It is so, but it's not like sticky. It's not overly glossy and overly glowy where it's uncomfortable and where it's like impossible to set with a powder. This sets beautifully with the powders. It just wears beautifully throughout the day as well. That's another thing. Oftentimes glowy, luminous foundations aren't quite as long wearing as I hope that they would be, but this wears beautifully throughout the day. Very minimal breakup, very minimal transfer, things like that. It wore gracefully throughout the day. looked beautiful when it was time for me to take my makeup off. I am very, very happy with it. And just even as it sinks into the skin, it still leaves a little bit of that luminosity. It's so, so pretty. So this isn't super pricey. It's about $16. You're getting a standard 1 fluid ounce amount of product in here. $16 I think is a very fair price point. I think Joah is sold, of course, at Joah online. I think they're also sold at Rite Aid and maybe some Walgreens. Now, I've never seen this in store. I got very lucky and came across this at my local discount store. So I jumped on it. I was able to pick it up for $7. So I got about $10 off, which I'm super stoked about. But y'all, if you ever see this foundation, definitely check it out, especially if you have dry skin. I feel like if you're more oily, this probably wouldn't be the best foundation for you, especially if you don't like to be glowy and glossy. But if you have dry, normal, or even combination skin, I do think this would be a fantastic option. Especially, could you imagine wearing this like through the summer and just getting that gorgeous kind of like lit from within glow? Ooh, so, so pretty. I love it. Moving on to concealer. I've tested quite a few concealers in the last couple of months. I'm trying to put together a drugstore versus high-end concealer video. So doing lots of concealer testing. I tested this one out and I keep going back to it. It's divine. It is delightful. It's everything I want in a concealer. This is the One Size Butter Silk Concealer. I picked mine up in the shade, I think this is F3. Yeah, Fair 3. This is a gorgeously cool toned concealer. It is not yellow in any way, shape, or form. It's pretty much my exact skin tone. And because of that, it just looks so gorgeous and natural on the skin. You're getting a great amount of coverage with this as well. I would say it's a good solid medium to full coverage concealer, depending on how much you apply and how much you decide to build it up. It blends out beautifully. It looks so gorgeous on the under eyes. Look at that, like almost an exact shade match for me. I love it so, so much. Now, while this shade is a perfect match for my skin tone, it's not quite as brightening as I usually prefer my concealers to be. So I do end up mixing it with something that's just a little bit lighter, but it plays beautifully with other products. It's just an easy to use concealer. She definitely is pricey though. So this concealer goes for $30 at Sephora. It's a lot to pay for a concealer. You guys know I didn't pay that for this. I waited for it to go on sale and I think I paid around $8 or $9 for it. I might have paid $12 for it. Either way, I got a great price on it and I love this concealer. It's delightful. It dries down by itself, completely by itself, so you don't have to powder it if you don't want to. Y'all, it does not crease on the under eyes at all. Once it sets down, it's set down and it's not going to move, but it definitely has more of a matte finish to it. There's definitely no glow. I think it's more matte than it is anything else. But it holds up beautifully on the under eyes throughout the day without looking overly dry or overly heavy either. My under eyes are a serious problem area for me. They're very, very dry. They're very, very textured. The skin there is very thin, almost a little bit crepey. So concealers and powder, for that matter, can be very tricky for me, but I find that this works well with just about any powder I use with it. And again, because it sets down on its own, I barely have to use any powder, which my under eyes really appreciate. It's delightful. I love the packaging as well. You're getting a glass tube with this gorgeous chrome red lid. It's delightful. You're getting a fantastic amount of product in here as well. You're getting 7 mils. Just for comparison, the Catrice True Skin, this is one of my favorite concealers too. I love this stuff too. But this is the Catrice True Skin and you're only getting 4.5 mils in here. So even though the price point is a little bit higher, you're getting a good amount of product in there. And like I said, it's great coverage. So a little bit is going to go a very long way for you. This stuff is delightful. It's so good, in fact, that I'm definitely thinking about maybe repurchasing it if I ever run out of it. Y'all, I am working hard on a drugstore versus high-end concealer video for you guys, so definitely be on the lookout for that. But I am noticing that sometimes it does pay to pay just a little bit more for your concealer. Speaking of powder, I have two powders that I want to talk to you guys about, one pressed powder and one loose powder. This thing right here, this gorgeous pink capped powder, y'all, she has changed my life. She has changed my life in a very, very big way. This is the ToyFactory Niacinamide Ultraset Loose Setting Powder. This is a $30 powder. I paid full price for this powder, and I would do so again and again and again. Most recently, my holy grail powder has been the Ciate London Extraordinary Loose Setting Powder. I adore that stuff as well. That goes for $28, worth every freaking cent of that price point. This is just as beautiful. It is so finely milled and so just like lightweight and almost hydrating on the skin. It's the powder that I'm wearing today. I think my under eyes look delightful. Again, I never come on here with my makeup just done, so we're going about 8 hours of wear for my makeup at this point, and I think it looks delightful. My under eyes, they're always going to look dry because they are dry, but they don't look overly creasy. They don't look overly dry. I think they look really, really nice, and it's because of this powder. It looks gorgeous on the under eyes. It looks gorgeous all over the face. I love the packaging as well. You get this really gorgeous sifter, so it's like no muss, no fuss. It is mess-free packaging. I really do wish that more powders came with this sifter packaging. It's just so easy to use, and you don't have to worry about getting that poof of powder every time you open your product. This stuff is delightful. Definitely going to be a repurchase for me at some point in the future. And then for my pressed powder, I wanted to talk about this one. So I also am wearing this powder on my face today. This is such a gorgeous, super mattifying powder. So this is the Milani Make It Last pressed powder. I just have this one in the shade 110, just matte. I think it's translucent. It does have a white cast to it. It is definitely a white brightening powder. This is so perfect to like carve out your face though. What I really like to do is take my powder puff and I like to kind of like gently tap into the powder, and I use this to kind of carve out my cheekbones. It just looks so beautiful. I also like to use it just a little bit in the center of my forehead, kind of brighten up the center of my forehead. And because it's so mattifying, it immediately sucks up any oil or shine that you've got going on in your face, which makes it such a perfect touch-up powder. It also looks really nice on the under eyes. It can be very, very drying because it is so mattifying. If you overdo this on the under eyes, you're gonna look dry. So just be aware of that. But it also is beautifully brightening. It just looks so, so pretty on the everywhere on the face, really. It is super finely milled, and like, oh, it's just, you can definitely tell it's got a little bit of like silicone or something in there because it's got a great amount of slip to it. It just looks so blurring on the skin. It's brightening. I've been enjoying using this powder quite a bit recently. It's a $12 powder, so not super expensive, and I don't hear anybody speaking about this powder like ever, and I really, really like it. I even really like that it's super light and like white because it just makes for such a brightening under eye powder. Again, very, very lightly. I do prefer to use this with, like on my under eyes, I definitely prefer to apply this with a brush just so you're getting a lighter application of product. But y'all, it's so, so pretty. Let's talk about some blush and some bronzer. So these two right here, I can't get enough of these. This one in particular. So these are the Beauty Bakerie Snackaroons Bite Size Blushes and Bronzer. This one, this shade in particular, this is the blush in the shade Hey Pumpkin, and it is the most stunning orange blush. I can't get over it. I can't get over how perfect it is. It's not too orange, but it's not too red either, not too yellow. a lot of orange blushes, they either lean very, very red or very, very yellow. And yellow on my skin tone tends to make me look just a little bit sallow. It's not cute. I don't look healthy. And this one is like right down there, smack dab in the center. It's like macaroni and cheese orange. And though it doesn't look like it's going to be a super flattering color, it just goes on and it ends up looking so beautiful. Again, it's what I have on today, and it just brings such a bright, fun, youthful kind of pop of color to the cheeks. It is very, very pigmented though, so a little bit of this is going to go a very, very long way for you. But I also really enjoy the packaging. They're so freaking cute. Looks like a little macaroon. They're so delightful. They are a little bit pricey, especially if you consider how small they are. These are $12. However, the littlest bit of this is going to go the very, very longest way. Again, even this tiny little thing is going to last you absolutely forever. So I'm not mad about that price point at all. These things are so, so good. I would have these in every single color they come in if I had the money, or if I lived anywhere near a Target, because that's the only place that you can get these is Target. But they're so, so nice. I also really have been enjoying the bronzers as well. So this is the Snackaroons bronzer. This is in the shade I Don't Give a Sip. So this is the medium tone in the range, and it's so beautiful. So pigmented, but not like scary pigmented. I love the tone here. It is a little bit more on the red side, but it's like red and neutral at the same time. So it goes on and it adds warmth, but it also adds just a little bit of shape and structure at the same time. They're so smooth and soft and blendable. I know that I've talked about these multiple times at this point, so I promise this is the last time that I will mention them. But if it's the best of the month video, I figured I might as well be honest and let you guys know that I've been using these relentlessly this entire month. They're so, so good. I can't get enough of them. And then for another blush formula, I wanted to talk about the Ulta Blush Beams. Now, I don't ever hear anybody talk about this product in particular, and the Ulta brand, like the Ulta line, isn't something that I was ever super interested in. I just felt like it was just kind of there, and if I ever saw something super cheap on sale, I might consider it, but it definitely wasn't something that I ever went looking for. So the last time I went to Ulta, I saw these. These were on sale for $7.20, down from $12. If you guys are interested in these are still on sale for $7.20. I highly recommend these. I think this is 100% a dupe for the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Blushes. This shade, Disco Night, is my very, very favorite. It is, and these have a little bit of shimmer in them. They're not just straight up like matte cream blushes. They have just a little bit of a like luminosity to them, while not being just like this, not sparkle, it's not glitter, it's not even really like a pearlescent like anything. It's just this super subtle kind of lit from within sheen. So that's the shade. Again, this is the shade Disco Night, and they're just, you see how like glossy and gorgeous they are. I love the tone of this as well. It's gorgeously cool toned. They blend out beautifully. And can you guys see just that slight luminosity to them? They're just absolutely stunning. Beautifully buildable as well. Nicely pigmented. A little bit of this is going to go a very, very long way. They're so stunning. But I want to compare because I do have some of the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Blushes. This is in the shade Orchid. And this is one of my very favorite out of the Tarte range. Such a gorgeous kind of like pinky orange, such a weird tone, but super, super pretty. But I feel like they do the exact same thing. They have almost that same exact finish on the skin. You guys can see almost exactly the same kind of texture. They blend out and they have that same super luminous lit from within kind of glow to them, but beautifully buildable as well. A little bit of this is going to go a pretty long way, but even after you build it up, you can still see your skin through it. So it ends up looking like such a natural, gorgeous, glossy flush of color on the cheeks. they're stunning. And the thing about it is these Tarte ones are almost like $30, and the Ulta ones are only like $7. I definitely think that if you've had your eye on the Tarte blushes, you should certainly check out the Ulta ones first. Just try out the formula, see if you like it, because y'all, I'm telling you, they're freaking identical. They're identical, and the Ulta one is like half the price. I will say the Tarte shade range is a lot better. I think there's only 4 shades in the Ulta ones. I think they have 2 peachy tones and 2 more kind of like mauvey burgundy tones. So the shade range is a lot better in the Tarte ones. But y'all, if you can find a shade that you like in the Ulta ones, I definitely say go for it, because they're spectacular. Now I want to talk about a misused product. So these are from ShopMissA. You guys already know how I feel about ShopMissA, one of my very favorite brands on the planet. I actually just placed another order with them, so we've got another ShopMissA video coming next week. Be on the lookout for that one. Should be a very good one. But y'all, these are so good, and not for the reason that they're intended. So these are the Venetian Romance Creamy Eyeshadows. I have them in 2 different shades. I have the shade Jewels and then also Crystal Visions. First of all, let's talk about the packaging. Do these look familiar to you? Because I'll tell you what, they're freaking they're the ColourPop Super Shock Shadow dupes, like all day, every day. And these are $1.55. They're $1.55. They're freaking amazing. I love the packaging. Okay, I love the color of it. These are identical, nearly identical to the ColourPop Super Shock eyeshadows. Almost the exact same formula. They have that very soft, kind of bouncy, putty-like texture to them. Gorgeously reflective, a little bit sparkly. Now, these are intended to be eyeshadows, and they look stunning as eyeshadows. However, I find them to be just a little bit sheer for what I usually like to wear on my eyes. It's so beautiful. So this is that pink shade called Jewels. And, you know, they're a little bit sheer. They're more of a topper kind of thing for me. And I just wasn't getting much use out of them. First of all, I would just forget that I had them. And second of all, it's just not something that I reach for very often when it comes to eye makeup. Guys know I like to go big or go home. So I usually prefer something that's got a little bit more of like a pigment to it. But I started playing around with these one day, and I found that these are the most gorgeous highlighters I have ever used. They're freaking stunning. So this is the shade Crystal Vision, and this one is an icy white with a green kind of blue flip to it. It's got a little bit of that, it's kind of almost got like a turquoise kind of flip to it. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera or not, but do you see how reflective they are, but how sheer they are as well? I have quite a bit of highlight on today, but I'm going to demonstrate this for you because they are some of the most beautiful freaking highlights. Let's go in with the pink one because I seem to be doing like a pink kind of theme today. I'm just going to take an eyeshadow, like it's a fluffy eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to tap it in there, and we'll just do it right here. Can you guys see that? How instantly it just goes on, and it's so beautifully reflective. But because it has more of that putty-like formula, it goes on and it just is so smoothing on the skin. It doesn't pick up texture. It doesn't look chunky or sparkly or glittery in any way. It is just like straight up, almost wet-looking shine. They're freaking stunning. They're stunning. And baby, they're $1.55. They're $1.55. You need these in your life. They have a ton of different shade choices. Like, go and go ham, because y'all could get every shade in this range for less than you would spend on a drugstore eyeshadow palette. Less than you would spend on one drugstore highlight. I mean, you're getting a great amount of product in here as well. Quite honestly, when have you ever used an entire highlight? So these are just fantastic. And on top of that, they double as, you know, highlight eyeshadows because they're intended for eye use. But you can't tell me that that doesn't look like a freaking stunning highlighter. I'm infatuated. I'm infatuated with these. I've had them in my collection for months at this point, and this month was the first time that I really kind of considered using them as a face product. And I tell you what, I like them so much more as a highlight than I ever did as an eyeshadow. And they're still really great eyeshadows, but as a highlight, they just, oh, they knock my socks off. We are getting to the end of the video. I have a couple of lip products to talk about. While we're on the subject of ShopMissA, you need these in your life. You need these in your life like you need air to breathe, like you need water to drink. You need these in your life. These are the ShopMissA Magical Girl Hydrating Lip Gloss Lip Stains. When I tell you, these are some of the most beautiful lip stains I have ever used. They're hydrating, they're comfortable, they're long wearing, and they're $1.88. They're less than $2. You're getting a fantastic amount of product here. They come in 4 different shades. There is an orange, a raspberry, a pink, and a more kind of like blushy red tone. I love these. Unfortunately, they're out of stock right now. I did check right before I started filming. Every single shade is out of stock, and it's been out of stock for just a minute. So I know that a restock is coming very, very soon. I highly suggest you go over to ShopMissA.com, sign up for the email to so they notify you when these are back in stock so you can place your order. I think these are so fantastic. These live in my freaking purse. This shade, this orange one, you guys already know, is my very, very favorite. First of all, let's talk about the packaging. The packaging is freaking adorable. I love it. Super cute. You got a nice, thick, plastic kind of packaging. I love the color of the tubes. It's just a standard doe foot applicator. That's what she looks like. Standard doe foot applicator. But y'all, look at the pigmentation. Look at that pigmentation. And they stain so beautifully. They're so long wearing. They smell super fruity and delightful as well. There is literally not a single bad thing I can tell you about these. They're freaking delightful all the way around. So that is the orange shade. And then I also picked up the raspberry shade. And while the orange is my favorite, the raspberry is just as pretty. Look at that. Such a gorgeous kind of like berry raspberry tone. Y'all, and they sink in. They have a water consistency, so they feel like instantly refreshing and a little bit hydrating, but then they sink into the skin and they still leave just a little bit of a glossy finish, but they kind of like dry down, and they are there. They're not going anywhere. They stick around for hours. And because it's a lip stain, you don't have to worry about it like moving around. You don't have to worry about like eating and like just like eating your lipstick off because it stains your lips. I'm going to let these sit for just a second, and then we'll do the rub test. I'll wipe them off and you can see the stain that gets left behind. But while we're waiting for that to happen, we'll talk about the other 2 lip products that I want to talk about. This one right here. So this is a fairly new addition to my collection as well. This is the Sheglam Dynamatte Boom Long Wearing Matte Lipstick. This is in the shade Don't Hesitate, and it is my perfect lip color. I think I've had this. I've only had this for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and I've worn it. I want to say maybe out of those 2 weeks, I've worn it 10 times. It is my perfect lip color. I love the packaging. First of all, the packaging is freaking adorable. I love this kind of like pastel gradient. I even love the branding on the front. The shape of the tube is super different as well. It's almost like triangular. It is fantastic. You open it up, you get this super cute little bullet lipstick. It is definitely kind of like, almost feels like a cream to powder kind of formula. It goes on and it feels very velvety and a little bit powdery, but then it dries down almost instantly and it doesn't freaking budge. It doesn't budge unless you're eating something oily, something like that. But if you're just drinking water or soda, what have you, throughout the day, this is gonna stick with you. And this color, is just, it's so beautiful. It is that perfect, cool toned, almost a little bit gray. It's not gray at all, but it's almost got that like very cool toned grayish kind of undertone. It is so perfect. Everything pulls so peachy and pinky on me. Everything pulls warm, right? I'm not sure why it does that, but I'll think that I've picked out a really gorgeous, cool toned lip product. I'll put it on and it just looks so much warmer than I want it to. I'm assuming it's because my skin is so cool. My undertone is so cool that everything else just looks super warm. But this goes on and it's just like, it's my perfect lip color. It's cool toned. It's got that gorgeous kind of like rosy mauviness to it. This is stunning. I don't know. I just got a feeling that this is going to be like one of my top 3 like favorite lipsticks of the year. We're just kind of like getting that vibe from it. I am so in love with it. And then again, it dries down. The minute it dries down, I mean, it doesn't freaking move. Like there's a little bit of transfer, but it's because I had gloss on my lips before. But for the most part, it doesn't freaking budge. It's delightful. I love this stuff so much. And then, oh, and it's super affordable as well. It's $6.99. So not the most expensive lipstick, not the cheapest lipstick out there, but not the most expensive either. And it's $6.99. Baby, I would repurchase this all day, every day. I am really having to fight with myself not to go back onto the website and order like 20 more of these, because if they ever discontinue this shade, I will be genuinely freaking heartbroken, because this is just, oh, it's so perfect. And then, even better, is this one right here. So this is the Covergirl Yummy Lip Gloss, and I like this formula a lot, but what really makes this special is the tone, is the color. So this is in the shade Lavender, and it is, again, it's cool toned, but it just goes on. I really love this. I love this lip gloss a lot. I love the texture of it. It's got that really gorgeous kind of like plush almost feeling to it. It goes on and it's just super hydrating, just kind of envelops the lips in this nourishing kind of like glossy shine. It's delightful. Goes on, super high shine. I love the way that it smells. The smell is fantabulous, but it's got a good like viscosity to it, because it goes on and it gives you that really gorgeous high shine without being stringy, without being sticky, but it doesn't move, it doesn't migrate. I love wearing lip glosses, but I tend to stay more towards the matte end of the spectrum because I have big issues with migration. For some reason, my lipstick likes to really pool at the corners of my mouth, and I'm not always mindful enough to remember to check my bat wings. That's what I call it. I'm not always mindful enough to really make sure that there's nothing pooling at the corner of my lips. And this just doesn't do that to me. It's got that thick kind of viscous texture to it. So once you put it down, it just stays wherever you put it. On top of that, the tone is perfection. I really love this super like cool tone. It's sheer, so it doesn't really have a color to it, but it goes on and it just adds just this little bit of like a cool undertone or overtone to whatever you put it on top of. It's perfect. It is a perfect lip gloss. It smells delightful. It feels delightful. It is a little bit pricey. I think this goes for around $11. But I did notice that at Target, it's only $9. The cheapest place to buy this is at Target. So definitely next time I go, I will be stocking up on this shade in particular because it's delightful. Let's go ahead and do a rub test on the lip stains. Yeah, I mean, with just a little bit of what was over top and hadn't dried down yet, but y'all, yeah, they're not going anywhere. They are on there, and that color is just as true. Like, you know, sometimes you'll get a lip stain and it'll go on and it'll be this really gorgeous, like full pigment, bright color. But then once it sets down and that overlayer kind of rubs away, you're just left with this really soft, much more muted kind of tone. I love that these stay full pigment. They stay bright orange and bright raspberry. And, you know, some people might not enjoy that, but I really, really do. I want my lipstick to stay nice and punchy throughout the day, and these definitely deliver that. All in all, I think this month was a fantastic month for makeup. I'm pretty much in love with just about everything I tried. There were some duds, sprinkled throughout the month, but for the most part, everything was delightful. Guys, as always, I will make sure to list everything I talked about in today's video in the description box below. Of course, if you have any questions about anything I talked about, all you have to do is leave me a comment and I will get back to you. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave it a big old thumbs up before you leave. I would really appreciate it. And as always, no filters, no fancy lighting. It is just me sitting in front of my camera playing with some fantastic makeup, hoping you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. Until next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and remember, you're important. Bye.